Captain Matt, Boater's Secret Weapon, and today we're talking all about water pump impellers, what they are, what they do, and why they're so critical to maintaining your boat. So this is a water pump impeller. It is basically just a rubber wheel that sits inside a housing that sucks up water from the source that you're in. Now, if you ever do a replacement of your water pump, you'll get this whole kit if you order the kit, and it comes with a water pump housing. So this is where the impeller sits in to make it a nice tight fit. There's a cam in there to make it work properly. You've got your gaskets, and you have a seal so that you can, and your O-ring, so you can make it an airtight compartment so that it can create suction to start sucking up that water from these intakes right here in the lower unit. Every motor is going to have some sort of intake to bring the water in and to cool that engine, because the source acts as the radiator. This is what it looks like, and you've got that impeller that's just real tight in there. Those rubber paddle wheels are turned in a way that they're going to suck up the water, and then they're going to run through this cam, which is going to create some suction, and that suction is going to make the whole system work, okay? An outboard will look. This is also how the Mercruiser Alpha drive impellers look. They sit in that lower unit, and you've got your housing around the outside there, and then they make it watertight with an O-ring and a cover that goes on. On a Volvo or a Mercruiser Bravo 3 drive, they're going to have that water pump housing inside the boat. So this is going to be the same thing. Your impeller is shoved in this thing. There's a cam in there. You've got the inflow and the outflow that's going to make everything work properly, and that's what it looks like there. Now let's see it in action. You can see those wheels, how fast they go. And then you can see that cam do the work to create the suction. But you can see on the left here, you can see a good impeller. The paddles are nice and straight. The rubber is nice and supple. If you were to feel it, it would be soft. Over time, sitting in that tight housing, what happens when they get the bend is they're not creating as much suction, and they're not sucking up as much water, which means they're not cooling your boat engine as well as it should be cooled, and that can cause excess wear and tear. It can cause overheating if it gets too bad, and if it gets real bad and you don't address it, your impeller can actually break apart like this one here. A technician friend of mine gave it to me, and these little rubber pieces, and this is a big one, I've got some smaller ones that probably won't show up on camera, they can get into that water flow, and they can get into your thermostat. They can get in and just obstruct the flow of water, creating more overheating and more expensive repairs. And if it gets real bad and you leave it running for too long because you don't realize it, these can get up inside the engine. They're very difficult to get out and can cause very expensive repairs. So if we look at how much does it cost, Bass Pro Shop sells for a 150 Mercury 4-stroke, the Quicksilver, so this is OEM parts, the housing, the gaskets, the O-rings, the impeller, everything that you need for $60. As you look, most of them are anywhere from $20, $30 up to, at the very high end, $100, $150. So they're very inexpensive parts, something you can easily do yourself with a little bit of research, a little bit of mechanical know-how, or even an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on the exact boat you're working on, that a shop can do it. And with the low level of expense and the high value of keeping that impeller in good condition, I'll encourage you, don't try to squeeze that extra year out of it. I think the recommended maintenance schedule is 2 to 3 years. Go ahead and keep that impeller in good working condition. It's one of those things you can't see, but it's so important to the health of your engine. So get that checked out before it gets to this phase and worse. Go ahead and get those changed. Be aware that you don't buy the cheap knockoff. Go ahead and get the OEM part. I've heard story after story in the last couple of years of people buying the $20 one or the $10 one on Amazon and it breaking apart within the first couple of outings. So don't cheap out on this one. It's too important. And it's too inexpensive to do the cheap version. Tell us your stories. Subscribe. If you haven't, if you're a newer boater, check out Boater Bootcamp. It's totally free. It's awesome. You can check that out at boaterbootcamp.com. And remember, life truly is better on a boat.